Welcome to Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you retire with purpose and live with joy. Find more information, including how to reach the team, in today's show notes. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens, powered by Ricken Financial.
As always, thank you for streaming. Thank you for downloading Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement, as Big Voice just said right there. Get all the information about Ricken Financial. You can find it in the show notes, but if you're too lazy to click down that far, rickenfinancial.com to meet the team. We are here with retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost. My name is Mark Owens. Heidi, how you feeling this week?
It's a beautiful day. I'm still going strong on my 5K a day in the month of November, and one day at a time, we're chasing our dreams.
So when
how are you, Mark?
I hear you say 5K a day, and I immediately just my shoulders drop, and I'm like, God, I'm so lazy. Like you make me realize what a slob I am. Like, we went to the Georgia game, Georgia-Texas, last weekend, and we walked our butt off, and it was, we probably got 20,000 steps. I was so proud of myself. I mean, I completely negated all the work because I was drinking beer the whole time, but I was so proud of myself for getting those 20,000 steps. But this is something that you're doing every single day. And what's the end goal for you, Heidi?
It's interesting. I was challenged in October by one of our mutual friends to do a 5K a day in the month of November. And my first question was, but why? Why would we do it?
Right.
And here was his reasoning. November is one of the busiest months of our year, and it's the beginning of the holiday season, and it's usually the time that people backslide in their health, which is accurate. I mean, I look back to every November previous, and that's usually when I started backsliding. And then, in the new year, new year, new me, I'm going to focus on my health again. Well, so the gist is, this is the time that you get to devote to yourself and pour back into yourself. But also, I mean, movement of any kind helps with, mental clarity and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess this makes sense. Sure, I'll do it. Yeah. And at the beginning, I'm going to be honest, my only goal was to finish it because I wanted to prove that I was capable of doing it. And I also realized that it was primarily men doing this challenge and me. So sometimes you got to prove that you can hang with the big dogs.
Show them how it's done, lady.
Oh, yeah. My dad raised a strong, independent woman, and I was going to show them just what I'm capable of.
Right.
And it's turned into me giving myself the time every day. And I don't know, a lot of women we have like this caregiving personality, and I'm 100% an empath who focuses on other people's feelings and puts everyone before myself. I got to the point in time that I had to lose the 150 pounds that I've lost because I put myself last for so long.
Yeah.
I'm retraining my brain to understand that it's not just okay to put myself first and in the equation. It's actually healthy, and that my self-worth includes moving my body and feeling good and giving myself the time I need to have mental clarity each day. And I find I am so much more productive now that I take an hour to focus on my health each day. And it started with me listening to different podcasts and, songs and stuff. And I'd say probably 10 days in, I am now walking with a phone in case of emergency, but I'm just reflecting and spending time doing some of my best thinking instead of having all the noise,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So it's interesting.
That's fascinating, because that was my next question. As you're doing this 5K a day, do you podcast, do you music, do you just listen to the world, but you listen to when you get done every day, do you have this that's a hell of a way to get the day started, or that's a great way to wrap up the day? Do you find yourself, because they say that you get these endorphins going, and because I say that, about 20 years ago and about 40 pounds ago, I was in my running phase, and I did 3 halves in a full marathon, and I'm proud to say.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah. And this was back in mid 2000s, and the training was incredible. Had a great time training. The day of the marathon, it was in March, and it's usually still pretty cool, but it turned out to be 85 degrees that day, and so we were burning up hot. Ran the marathon, but I was asking about the music and the clarity because this is when we had the little iPod shuffles about the size of a postage stamp. I loaded that bad boy up with country, rock, rap, hip hop, EDM, techno, trance, every genre you could think of. I loaded it up. The day of the race, I didn't listen to one song from beginning to end. I couldn't find my song, so I just listened to the world and talked to the people around me that day.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it amazing how powerful that feels?
Yeah. Yeah. What else was powerful is how my knees barely stayed together for those 26.2 miles. Yeah, I got the medal. I lost a couple of toenails, and I hung up my running shoes. I was like, did it, checked it off the list. Time to move on. What's next? Go find me a cheeseburger, because that was the extent of mine. But you mentioned something there, and I want to kind of dive into that a little bit here this week for the Kicking with the Rickens podcast. You're talking about the challenges that you face and how you're one of the only females doing this 5K a day, and you want to challenge yourself as a female, but you also had a great couple of seminars recently that were women-only seminars. Let's talk about that. Some of the challenges that the females face into and through retirement.
Well, for better or worse, I don't have to sit here and pontificate. Everyone is aware of the fact that there is still a wage gap between men and women. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, and yes, there are outliers for every single situation I'm going to talk about. This is not, there is no general reason for why we need to plan different. There is no general anything nowadays. But when you look at our world as a whole, women make less than men. So in all of our working years, we don't make as much money. So we typically don't have as much saved, because if you think about like your 401k plans or your TSP or your 403b, all those employer-sponsored plans, typically the match isn't just a dollar amount from your employer, it's a percentage of your income. And if we're making less, then our match is less. If we're making less, yes, some of us are capable of maxing out that employer-sponsored plan, but we may not have as much saved in there because we don't have as much juice in the turnip as my grandpa would have said back in the day. And, not only that, but about 80% of caregivers, whether you're giving care to your children or your parents or both, are women. So we typically have a break in employment too at some point in time, because, either that or we need to make more money to have someone else help us raise our children and take care of our parents. But a majority of us have a break in our income stream at some point in time because we're providing care for others. And the statistics show us that 94% of women are going to have to manage their own money at least one day in their life. So whether you're married, single, divorced, widowed, whatever your situation is, 94% of us are going to have to figure out the day-to-day finances and the long-term finances at some point in time in our lives. And a majority of women that I had met with prior to being hyper-focused on bringing more education and knowledge and empowerment to the financial world of women, a majority of women I met with make all the day-to-day financial decisions for the household, but weren't really keyed in on the long-term stuff because, the broker does that. Yeah. My husband does that. So-and-so does that. And I found that women are less likely to ask the questions because they don't want to feel stupid. And what's really funny is that over the course of time, I've actually realized that a lot of the questions that get asked of me in these seminars are the exact same questions that men have, but men don't ask them because they don't want to sound stupid in the room. So it's just very interesting. Right. At the end of the day, we can hyper-focus on all the negative reasons why we need to focus on being empowered to handle some of our financial decisions. We're also going to live longer than men, more likely to need long-term care. There's just so many different facets to why it's important to plan. But the reason why I bring, these seminars to the women in our area is because we're worth being focused on and having a safe place where we can ask the questions and get the answers without any form of judgment, because who am I to judge anyone? I didn't know what I didn't know before I knew it myself. Yeah. At the end of the day, I want only 20% of women feel empowered to handle their financial future and their financial decisions for the long term. I want that number to flip on its head, and I want at least 80% to feel empowered and ready to take it on. So it's all about just some basic education and knowledge so that you have some tools in your tool belt and you can handle it. Because if you have been relying on a partner, a spouse, a parent, a child, whoever, to help you make all those financial decisions, and now you're on your own, that's going to be a stressful situation because that means you lost someone you love. That's not the point in time I want you to be, in the most stressful point in your life, finally making these decisions. I want you to be keyed in every step of the way so that you're ready at any point in time to be able to make the decisions.
When you have these women in retirement seminars, and rickenfinancial.com, click on the events tab. You can always stay informed on when the next group of seminars are going to be hosted by the team at Ricken Financial. What is the most common or the number one question you get, even if it's the most simplistic question? What is the biggest question that you get from females as they get to or through retirement? What does it seem to be?
The first question we usually get is, have I saved enough? Because we as women always feel like we've never saved enough and that we're never going to be okay. And I find that most people who are asking that question have saved enough. If you're not asking that question, you probably don't have enough saved because you feel too comfortable with your finances.
Yeah.
But the first question is usually, have I saved enough? And then the second one is, am I even investing in the right things? Because a lot of times, you let someone else make those decisions and you don't even know what you might be invested or if you're matching your risk tolerance. And, I get that question quite a bit when I talk about it. People will say, well, how do I even know what my risk tolerance is or if I'm matching it? And the general answer for that, yeah, you could buy a subscription to Morningstar and run all these reports on your own if you want to, or come to someone like me. We'll run it for you and show you, here's the type of risk you're currently taking. And we can actually put it in plain English and show it to you. And then we'll do a risk analysis on you and see what kind of risk you're comfortable taking. And you get to see in black and white whether you're matching it or not. And then here's the kicker. And this might be actually the biggest question women have ever asked me. When do I take Social Security? When do I first of all, when do I retire and when do I take Social Security? And so many women think that they have to go hand in hand. And if you have other assets saved, you don't have to take Social Security the day you retire. But it is incredibly important from a household perspective to determine the best point in time for both you and your spouse to draw Social Security benefits, because when one of the two of you passes away, only the higher of the two benefit remains. So it has to be a household decision and not just a one-sided, oh, I want to take my benefits and call it a day decision.
Right.
So I'd say those are really the biggest questions. And then, of course, always, how do you cover long-term care costs? Because we're a little bit more realistic. Typically, the guys in the room will be like, I'm not going to need long-term care.
I'll rub some dirt on it. I'll be all right.
70% of humans are going to need long-term care. I'm in that 30%. Well, guess what? If you're in a married couple, 90% of you will need at least one day of long-term care because we like to live longer for our spouse.
Yeah.
So, we got to get that covered too. And then, the biggest question is, if I lose my spouse, how do I handle this? And there's different benefits available in the Social Security Administration, whether you're divorced or widowed or single or married. The taxes change dramatically when you lose your spouse. So more so than meeting just a single guy or a married couple, it's important for the women to really do some tax forward planning, because if you're single, you pay single tax rates. If you're married, you pay married tax rates. And if you lose your spouse, you get 1 year where you get surviving spouse rates, which is married filing jointly. And then moving forward, your taxes are almost going to double for the rest of your life when you're single again. So just a couple things we get to plan for. And I love hosting these events because I get to actually share as much as the women would like me to share, so that you feel empowered to handle some of those situations, like knowing when a break-even analysis might work for you and your spouse and your Social Security, so you can make the decision for when you want to turn on those benefits, and understanding the difference between income and investments and how much of each you need in retirement, and knowing all the different nuances that come with long-term care coverage, whether you self-insure or push the insurance off on an insurance company. There's so much out there. It's hard to even be succinct talking about it, but
These
fun.
are important conversations to have, though. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
that, you do provide a little bit of a, how do I say, like, not security, but a bit of a comfort, if you will, because there are a lot of, and we've talked about it before here on Kicking with the Rickens, that it's not a comfortable conversation. You just mentioned about those that become widows. I know that's tough for y'all. I mean, it's especially tough for, the families you serve, but you're kind of dealing with the emotions of my life just got flipped upside down, and now I've got to deal with the financial aspect of it all. And that's where you and that's where Jerry come in.
And that's precisely why we do the type of planning that we do, because, unfortunately, I have a client who falls into that category as of this last week. We lost one of my clients, and it was very sudden. He had a brain aneurysm and was gone. And it's tough. And this is not the point in time I want to have to sit down with my client and begin the process. Mm-hmm. This is the point in time that I get to sit down with her and support her emotionally, be there for her in her most trying time when she just lost the love of her life, because we already have the financial plan ready to go, whether Dwayne was in our lives or not.
Right.
And so, death, I wish we had a crystal ball sometimes, but actually I don't, because I don't know I don't want to know when I want to die. I just want to live. But since we don't have a crystal ball, it's important to have a plan that can withstand the ups and downs and be prepared for the what ifs, because I would hate the lowest time of someone's life to have to come in and force them to make some financial decisions they don't feel prepared for.
Yeah.
So that's the entire reason why we do what we do, is we want to ensure that you don't have to worry about the money when you're worried about everything else in your life.
RickenFinancial.com to meet Heidi Ricken Provost, Jerry Ricken, the entire team, to schedule that consultation. Well, let me ask you a question. And the answer could be no on this one as well. But do you offer opportunities for females to come and sit down with you, and maybe they're doing great? Maybe they're on a financial plan. There's no real issues. We all worry about money, but maybe things are fine within their marriage, but they just want to know a little bit more. It's almost like, Heidi, educate me. Do you provide those opportunities for the community?
I 100% do. And if you're listening to this and you just want to learn more, give me a buzz. Go on, head over the show notes and reach out, because I love to chat. That might be shocking to Mark and everyone else here, but I would love to chat and get together. And, you don't know what you don't know. So we got to begin somewhere. Let's have a discussion. Come on by, and, you can enjoy something to drink with me and something to eat, and we'll just sit and have a conversation and see what you don't know what you don't know. So I welcome that every single day. I would love if people would just pop in and have a conversation with us about all sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. That's actually one of my dreams. And actually, in the new year, one of my plans is every other week we'll be hosting coffee at the office. So coffee and some breakfast pastries. Come on by and have a casual conversation. So if you're not ready for the sit down, we're here anytime to just have a little chit chat and get to know each other and see if I might be able to help you.
So instead of kicking with the Rickens, it's caffeine with the Rickens.
Absolutely.
I love that, man.
Ricken Refreshments.
Oh, hold on. Let's write that down. I'm going to trademark that one right there. Ricken Refreshment. I think that's a good place to hit pause here this week, but that's really good information, because, for a lot of the females in the community, maybe they're feeling pretty good about where they stand, but they just have the questions. But like you said, there's also a lot of challenges that our wives, our moms, our sisters, our daughters will face to and through adulthood and retirement. Now, that's why I love that you're around to help guide and just provide that education, that information. RickenFinancial.com to get more information from Heidi Ricken Provost and the team at Ricken Financial. Again, RickenFinancial.com. You can find that link here in the show notes. Let's hit pause. We'll be back next week. But before we get out of here, Heidi, take us home.
Every day's a holiday and life is short. Laugh hard.
This has been Kicking with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.